challenge about thickers, I thought to myself, what is it that I want to do? We've all got thickers, but you know what we have as well that I just have a ton of? Chipboard. All those Kaisercraft chipboards that come in all different shapes and sizes, and not even just the Kaisercraft ones. I've got other ones as well. So I went through my stash and I pulled out all the ones that were almost finished but not quite finished, and I decided I really needed to bash these. So I did make up the last few words that I could. So for example, I collected the what, like the letters that I could make. So like this says so lucky, and I'm going to keep these super handy so that I use them first. So you will see some chipboard coming up on some layouts because I want to use these up. I made, from all this chipboard, I made 6 titles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that makes sense. About 1 title per pack. And the rest is gone. I literally used it all. Now I'm going to show you what I've done, so they can all go in the bin. See you later, chipboard. What I have done is I glued that raw chipboard straight onto my page. Now, there are so many things that I could do with this. I could have painted each one first. I could have embossed them. There's heaps, there's so much. What I'm actually going to do is I am going to paint it. I've got out my gesso and I'm going to paint all over the whole thing in gesso. Now, as you know, gesso is a lighter, can't get my lid off. Oh, here we go. Gesso is a lighter type of paint, so it's not going to have the same coverage as, say, an acrylic paint might. I absolutely could do multiple coats, but I'm also conscious of it sort of slipping down in between the gaps. I do want to get a nice coverage. So I'm going to just come in here and get started. Now, oh yeah, nice. This is going to be perfect. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to messy throw this on to my whole page. It's going to take me a hot minute. And when I am finished, I will possibly do a second coat. I do want reasonably good coverage, and I don't want to get the clinky clunky, you know, sort of drippy bits that I could end up with if I do a thick coverage all in one go. So I'm going to go ahead and cover this entire page, didn't even see myself do that, in gesso, and just get this happening. And when I come back, I'm going to come back to a nice white lettered page. So I will see you soon. So I am back. My thickers are all covered, or my chipboard are all covered. They look amazing, and I'm ready to do a little bit of mixed media in the background. So I've got myself the Heidi Swapp Color Shine in navy. I'm going to do a little bit of packaging technique right sort of splat bang in the middle of the page. As you know, I've got a fairly huge title, and I've got 2 photos, one in 4x6 and one in 3x4. So it is going to take up a lot of the space that I actually have for my, you know, embellishing and all of that anyway. So I do need quite a decent amount of mixed media in the background if I'm even going to be able to see it. So I do kind of throw quite a bit of this down on the page. That was a lot, and I didn't mean for it to be so much, but when I actually put it on, I was like, oh, I totally needed all of that. So it was definitely fine. This does look quite black in real life. Well, even in this video, I can see that, but it does dry to a completely different, or not completely different, but dries to a different color.
So I let that dry on its own, and now I'm going to add some of the teal. Now, if I had this to do over, I'd actually do even more of the teal because, again, it dries to a different color, and the color it looked like wet was beautiful, and it dried a little bit too light for my liking. I should have poured way more on and done more, because how gorgeous is that color? That is not really what you see. So I really should have done just a tad more so you could see the beautiful teal a bit better. And I possibly shouldn't have gone in a second time with the same messy packaging, because I think I'm just smudging the colors all together and you're not really getting the feel of the teal at all. You're just getting more sort of smushy brown or black. See how it's dried and how like the teal almost completely disappears. So I've got my two photos. Yes, they are the same photo printed in two different sizes, and I have matted those with the U-Rock collection 4x6 paper pad. I have also got my exact same chipboard letters, and I have embossed those using embossing powder in black. They possibly needed 2 layers, but I was feeling super lazy and didn't want to. So that's why you can sort of see a rippled effect on the letters themselves. If I had have gone in a second time, I could have smoothed that out and had them be as nice and smooth and beautiful as stickers are. But honestly, you don't notice. So gone in, this is the general gist of how this is going to look. So I'm going to go on in and glue this on. In general, I don't want too much sticking up because the chipboard letter background is already quite a layer in itself. So if I have like multiple pieces of foam, it's going to get pretty high pretty quickly. And as much as I love dimension and I love bulk, that does take up quite a bit of room in an album. So I am putting one piece of foam underneath my photos, and then therefore the letters that are on top of my photos will need a bit of supporting. So that letter I has a tiny little tab sitting on my photo, so it needs supporting. But the other, like the letter C, is up on top of my photo, but the A and the N, it's just going to be glued on flat. I'm not going to bother trying to pop that up on foam. It doesn't need to matter. It's fine. You won't really notice that the heights are uneven. But yes, the D, it will need a little bit of foam as well, because the top end of the D needs to be up on the photo. So therefore the bottom end of the D needs supporting. So just that kind of stuff is going to happen. Usually if I stick up one letter, I like to stick up them all, because otherwise it looks quite odd. But in this particular case, there's just so much going on that you don't even notice that the letters aren't on the same height or the same dimension as each other. So once these are all stuck down, it'll be time to play with the ephemera. Now, I told you earlier that I backed my photos using the 4x6 paper pad, but I should have said of Cool Kid. That is the collection that I'm using, Cool Kid by Crate Paper. It is an oldie but a goodie. It is probably one of my all-time favorite boy collections. I just adore it. I love the ephemera. I love the sentiments that come with it. I love the colors. It just suits my scrapbooking, my style, and my boys down to a T. So I've definitely been hoarding that. Katie gave it to me for our 2019 advent calendar, and I have so much left because I am scared to finish it, basically. So that is what all the things you see, that is from Cool Kid, and I just love it. I've tried to make in each little element the number 4, because I noticed I wasn't using any numbers from the collection, and he is currently 4. It's not his birthday or anything, but just, that's how old he is, so I decided to put it on. I've already done his birthday layout, so I don't have any reason to use a 4 anymore, so he's almost going to be 5, so I'm like, right, let's get this number on the page. So I put a 4 in every cluster. I think I put like a word phrase in a silver shiny word phrase in every cluster. As I said, I'm just, trying to use up some stuff because I shouldn't be hoarding it, and I want to make my clusters match each other. Now, because I want to put that Hey Buddy on top of the letter I do need to pop it up on a little bit of foam to even out the height of that chipboard. There's another little number 4. That is in a what's the word of these stickers? They're like, kind of like the plasticky ones. Do they have a word? They're not foam. They're not chipboard. They're not puffy. What do you call those ones? I don't know. But that's what that is. And you can see I've got some little circles. I fussy cut those from the 4x6 paper pad, those teeny tiny little circles. And then obviously the sticker sheet. Now these love hearts Katie put in a kit for me, but they are like, what are they called? Something about faith, hey faith, or faith something. Love hearts, but they're just the perfect blue that just goes amazingly with this whole collection. And I'd never even opened the packet, so I definitely wanted to get some of those into each of my clusters as well. And then once I do that, I'm pretty much finished with the layout because it is incredible and I love it. So I'm definitely going to do this again, and the next time I do it, I'm going to take a leaf out of Amanda's book, and I'm only going to do my background in like a clump across the middle, not all the way to the edges on all four sides, just like a random throw of letters right into the center. That's what I'm going to do next time because she did that and it looked super cool. So I hope you have enjoyed this process, and I hope I have given you some ideas for using up some of your old stash, especially chipboard and even just old stickers in general. And thank you so much for sticking around and watching.